Okay. There we go. Perfect. Ooh. Alrighty. Boom. What?
Are you getting the full screen or the thing at the bottom?
How do you turn the volume off on the iPad?
Side.
Cool. Thanks. Okay. Cool. There we go. Yay! It's working. What?
Go full screen on the iPad. Oh, you can see comments.
Oh, full screen. How do you do full screen?
On the bottom left.
There you go.
Can you turn that sideways too?
I don't know. I'm afraid to.
There you go.
Nice.
Ask somebody to type something for you, see if it works.
If anyone's watching, would you mind commenting so I can see if I can see what you guys are saying? Like wave or something, if you guys are watching. If you don't mind.
Here, I'll try.
All right, well, I'm gonna get started. Are you gonna comment?
I'm trying it.
Okay, thanks. All right, so I've already prepped my nails. I've cleaned the cuticles, all that good stuff. So I'm just wiping again with alcohol really well. Then I'm gonna apply the nail forms and start sculpting. If you guys have any questions or if you want me to explain something specifically or have something you're struggling with, just write it in the comments and I'll try my best to answer you guys. Okay, so I'm actually gonna push my cuticles back one more time since I prepped these about a half hour ago and I've just been let me know, okay? All right, so I love, oh, okay, cool. Well, I saw it on my phone, but I didn't see it on the iPad.
No?
No? Do you think I have to not be in
Yeah, maybe just do it.
leave another one? If you don't mind. It's only coming up on my phone. That's gonna be super annoying. How do people do that? I don't understand.
Are you logging in the same account?
No.
That's why, you gotta be on the same account.
Oh, wait, I think, wait, hold on. Yeah, yeah, I'm on my, oh, JK, I'm on yours. How do you log out? Oh my god.
Yeah, click the,
Everyone's gonna hate me. I'm like wasting their time. What?
go back. Top right where that little F is.
Mm-hmm.
There you
Switch account. Boom. Can I just add it? I'm adding it to my thing.
go. Did you pause your
Hmm?
chat?
No, I can do that?
No.
Oh. Oops. Oops. Okay. All right, can you try again? I'm sorry. Okay. So, like I was saying before, I do love the ugly duckling forms. However, I've been super busy and slacking, so I only have one left, you guys. So I'll show you on one now. The reason why I like this is because they are actually, see, I only can see it on my phone and on the iPad.
Okay. Let's do it.
All right, I'm just gonna keep going. It's shaped, obviously, like a stiletto, which helps things so that when you actually shape it, it's a lot better instead of having to pinch this one. But I'll show you both, so it'll be good. I'm planning on doing stiletto, coffin, 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 and stiletto. I'm pretty sure, unless you guys want to see something different. Does it have to be turned that way?
I don't know if I'm down.
So,
There you go.
yay! Beautiful. All right, so now I can see you guys. If you comment something, I'll be able to answer your questions. Sweet. All right, so we're gonna take the form. But these ones, they're super thick, so you really don't have to add this part, but old habits die hard, I guess. And then you simply prep the form by putting it together. Rolling it back and forth makes a really nice C curve too. Helps get that started. All right, so this one we're gonna do the stiletto on the pinky. So when you're putting forms on, you want it to reach from the sidewall to sidewall. So see how that's not quite there. There's still like that little gap. We want to get rid of that. So what I'm gonna do is just use my scissors to cut this a little bit more narrow. It's always a good trick too for people with kind of extended hyponychiums, I guess. Just putting that little triangle at the bottom. Hey, Sharon. Hello. Welcome. Okay, so we're gonna put that there and see now that is going to be fixed the sidewall. Okay. But that one is still a little bit, so I'm gonna cut a little bit more. I say a little bit, I just mean a little bit. Okay. Doing it on yourself is always a little tricky. I always prefer doing it on other people. I'm sure others feel the struggle. So if you put it on and just leave it like this, it's gonna be a little bit too wide. You want the form to pretty much start where that sidewall is. So we're gonna pinch this in all the way until the sidewall is even. It's actually even going that way a little bit, so we're gonna fix that. See how it's going this way? Okay, so that's feeling nice and tight. Oh girl, I will show you ombre, don't even worry. It's super simple. I promise you just have to practice it a couple of times and it'll be good. The way I do ombre is actually from, you do the ombre and then you just overlay it, like encapsulate it with acrylic. So you perfect it and then you encapsulate it so that when you file it, you won't mess up what you perfected. Super easy. All right, so there is my stiletto. I haven't quite decided how long I'm gonna go yet, so let's put another one on. The Ugly Duckling forms are significantly longer than normal forms. The eHarmony, or I always say eHarmony, the Harmony ones. If you can see the length difference there. So we can't go as crazy. These ones are definitely a little bit more flimsy. They're not quite as thick, so you definitely want to add that little sticker in the back. And prep the form by rolling it in between your fingers like that. Straight out, pulling the mesh in there. Okay, so Miss Nunez, you're asking if the form is supposed to come straight out following the natural nail, or if we should place them down in a downward position. So I think what you mean by that is, do you want the form coming down or do you want the form coming straight across? If you're doing coffin, it's always best to do them straight across. When you're doing stiletto, I like them to point just a little bit down. Otherwise, when you lay, because you have to think the acrylic is going on top of the form, right? So it's going to be slightly up anyways from where the form is. So if you have it even, right, and then you put it even up more on top with the acrylic, it's going to be pointed upwards. If that makes any sense. I hope I'm explaining that well. But yeah, so with stilettos, you can put it a little bit down. You can barely tell that it's down here, but like about there it would be straight across, but we're making it down just a little bit because I'll probably do about here for lengthwise. Okay, so moving on to the Harmony file. I always break this beforehand. And my ring finger is usually pretty. Yay, okay, good. I'm glad I answered your question. All right, so usually my ring finger is pretty fine. I don't have to cut the form. Some nail beds you'll have to cut the form so that it fits right under the sidewall. Sorry, I don't like how that one was going. Let me redo that one. It's a little bit tricky with the gloves, not gonna lie. I normally don't wear gloves, but my right hand is not done, and you guys don't need to see that travesty. Okay. again, you want to pinch it all the way to the sidewall. And this one's going to be coffin, so I'm not going to pinch it all the way together, but I do, because I'm thinking to the 4. What do you guys think? I'm thinking to the 4. And see the difference there in length, right? It's a little bit too down. See, now that's way too down. That would be ridiculous. So we're gonna move that up a little bit. I'm actually gonna just cut the sidewalls too. Maybe I'll help this a little bit here. There, that's a lot better, right? And that will, oy vey, struggling with the one hand. All right. Again, you don't want it going down, you want it to go up. Okay, so now that's looking good. So by cutting the edges, now I can have that going nice and straight. All right, it's nice coffin. I always check from both angles. You want to check from here and then from here as well to make sure that it's straight. Always going from the knuckle down. So basically you're going from here down, right, to make sure it's straight. Right? Let's see, Miss Miller. Corners were always cracked. If the corners are cracking, it's probably because either the apex isn't quite there or you're making it a little bit too thin, filing it away too much. You want it to be the same thickness going all the way around the C-curve. So if it goes a little bit too thin, in the middle, it can like crack the edges off, or it could also be your clients. That's always a hard one, because you never know really what the clients are doing. So that's a tricky one. So I'm gonna start with just these two. Since I'm not obviously going this long, I'm just gonna cut this edge off right here to make life a little easier. You can always do that too with ugly duckling nails. The form, you don't have to use that whole long length, you can just cut it. All right, so now I'm thinking, now that I have these on, I think I want to go to a 5, which is a 3 on the ugly duckling forms. Like 3 might even be a little bit longer. So I'm gonna just pull that in a little bit more. Making sure this still looks straight. Okay. So I am going to apply dehydrator. This is just IBD dehydrator. I don't really think that a brand, you know, is better than another. It's just dehydrator. Then once that dries completely, I'm going to add, I use Young Nail Protein Bond. Acid free, so you don't have to worry about touching the skin. You just put enough to cover the nail. So normally, when I'm sculpting on a client, I will do 4 nails at a time, and then I'll do the thumb. While the thumb is drying to pinch, then I'll move on to filing the rest of the nails, and then so pretty much I'll do 4 nails, the thumb, finish filing one hand, and then I switch to the other hand and I do the 4 fingers, the thumb, finish filing, and then by that time I'm done with both hands. Right now I'm just doing it 2 at a time just because I'm teaching, and it's going to take a little bit longer than normal, and since I'm doing it on myself, it takes a little longer than normal as well. So I'm just doing it this way just to show you guys. But usually I would have all 4 done at the same time. All right, so I applied 2 layers, and then you can apply a fresh layer of the protein bond right before applying the acrylic. I am using Valentino system, of course, as usual. Let's see, so the pinky, I want to do just gold stones on it, so that's what I'm planning on. So this will just be a clear, regular stiletto nail. I apologize for my weird hand placement. It's so awkward doing this on yourself. I'm sure you guys know the struggle is real. Okay, I'm trying to get this to focus here on what I'm doing. Cool. All right, so gonna add a fresh little layer of this guy. So the first bead is basically just to get the length. That's all we're focusing on. If you need to re-pinch this, that's fine. Sometimes while you're sitting here talking and stuff, it'll start to unpinch. So since we're doing it pretty long, it's gonna be a bigger bead. Not too big because it is the pinky, and the pinkies are the, obviously smallest nail bed. All right, and then, so I'll just pretty much lay this down, and then we'll move on to the next one, which will be coffin. And then I will pinch these. So I'm gonna grab a fairly decent sized bead here. Just getting some of the liquid out and then placing it right at the free edge. The first thing you want to do is make sure that the acrylic is going from sidewall to sidewall. If it's not, it's going to end up breaking later. You can file the sides too much, all that fun stuff. Just pushing this acrylic down. So right now, just focus on getting to the length that you want, and then we are going to focus in a second evening it all out. Yes, and I will go over pinching. All right, so again, you want to make sure you're going sidewall to sidewall, following that line all the way down. Okay, if it's a little bit down, that's okay. You can always file it later. But you want to try to make it even all the way across. So using the belly of your brush, just pressing it and making it all nice and even, because we're going to pinch it. And if it's too thick on one side, it'll pinch it a little bit more, if that makes sense, on one side and make it look a little lopsided. So you want to try to make it as even as possible. Okay, almost there. Taking it as far as I can go. Okay, so that is it for that one. I'm sorry if I was not in view. So here, I don't know if this is focusing or not. There we go. So super thin layer, you guys. All we're concerned about is getting the length and making sure it's from the sidewall to the sidewall, because we're gonna pinch it and you wanna make sure that it'll pinch nicely. All right, so while that is drying, I'm gonna move on to this one. This is gonna be Coffin. Again, I'm gonna coat it with protein bond. Do the same thing, so we're going all the way to the 5 here. Again, it's going to be a pretty big bead. You have to get all the way to the 5, extending down both side walls. So you want to press it. Side wall to side wall. Press it down. To prevent bubbles, you have to make sure that your bead is wet enough. If it's too dry, it'll create bubbles. And you have to be really good at pushing it down I guess your brush has to be wet enough too. I don't know, honestly. I've never really focused on trying to not get air bubbles in there, so. Also too, making sure to release the air completely out of your brush when you pick up the bead helps. Sorry, I don't have more information on that for you. Oops. So I did not get a big enough bead. I'm just gonna add another ball here at the end. Bring it up here. And a little bit more in the middle too. Really using the belly of your brush to push it all out. Make it all even. Doesn't look very pretty, that's okay. All right, so going on to this. Can come on the screen a little more, please? I'm so sorry. I will try to do that. I'm sucking at that, I apologize. All right, so now that we're gonna pinch, it's still squeezable, but it's not soft anymore. It doesn't feel like a marshmallow. It feels like, it'd be a good consistency. I guess if you're making candy, like a sucker or something, when you're heating up the sugar and it gets that really thick consistency where it's still moldable, but it's really thick and it's not going to move after you squish it. That's pretty much the consistency that you want to squeeze it at. So a good way to check is just to make sure that you're not leaving indentions on the side. If you are leaving indentions, you're squeezing way too soon. And you need to wait a couple more seconds. But typically, once I'm done sculpting the next nail, the first nail will be ready to pinch. So I'm just squeezing it a little bit with my fingers. Usually I would use my 2 nails, but we're doing this to myself, so it's, like I said, a little tricky. And you don't want to just pinch it once and then leave it and then go and move on, because the acrylic will bounce back. So you want to you want to give it a couple squeezes and leave it on there for a little bit to get a nice C-curve. And that C-curve is going to help a lot with structure and all that stuff as well. So we're just leaving this on here, making sure it's forming, drawing right. Okay. All right, I'm going to check this one. Same thing. It is firm, but still moldable. I press it and there's no indentions. It's still solid acrylic. So we know that we're okay to start pinching. Letting go of the way. Take it off and check again, still looks okay. Give it a little squeeze. And pinching will depend on the acrylic you're using too. I feel like Young Nails dries a little bit quicker than Valentino. Maybe it's just my head, especially with the colored acrylics. The colored acrylics dry a little bit slower. Okay, so that is looking good. So you can see the C-curve would be really nice. I definitely need to add some thickness here. Oh, if I can get that in the camera. It's a little bit thin right here. I'm not sure if you can tell. There we go. Yeah, so it's a little thin. So we're gonna add some thickness there. But we have the length down. So now I'm going to go back to the pinky, okay? And we're gonna add pretty much the apex. Well, first we're gonna focus, for longer nails, I tend to add like about 4 beads. For shorter nails, I do like 3 beads. So usually I will do the length and pinch, and then I will go back and pretty much make the apex of my natural nail and this nail all the way even. The 3rd bead will making the apex of the acrylic nail, and then the 4th bead will just be the cuticle. So I'll add first just a little bit more bulk at the tip here. I'm literally just sweeping this down the side. Just using the belly of my brush, push it down. Actually need a little bit more. You always want to do more rather than less, because you can always file, excess bulk off, but it's always a pain in the butt to go back and have to add, acrylic later. So when in doubt, add more. Okay, so this next bead will be for the apex here. And again, you want to remember that your nail doesn't have to be super thick for it to not break. You just want to make sure that the structure is there. The structure is there. It can be fairly thin. And having a strong apex doesn't mean that the whole nail has to be thick either. Okay, so that pretty much looks good, I think. Just gonna add more here. Oops, sorry guys. All right, so now apex is good. We've got enough length or enough product here. Just gonna tap that out. Bloop, bloop, bloop. All right, and then we're gonna go for the cuticle bead. Oops. So you, oops, pretty much want to, oh gosh, bear with me guys, I'm trying to get them. Sorry, bear with me. Trying to get this to capture a little easier. There we go. Ooh, and my form's hitting there. Man, struggle city right now, trying to do this myself. Next time I need a hand model for sure. Don't want to put too much product. If you do, it will create lifting, as well as not putting enough product. So just keep that in mind. Obviously, you don't want to touch the skin, and keep the finger pointed down so that the acrylic falls instead of bleeds into the cuticle, because that will cause lifting as well. So that's pretty much it. So that nail is pretty much good to go. When I take this off, I'm just gonna make sure it has enough there. So now we can move on to the coffin. I'm gonna start picking out some bigger beads. This seem to be picking up a lot. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like all week I was doing a lot of really short nails on my clients, and so now it's like going back to long. Maybe it's because I haven't been doing it long enough, I don't know. Okay. Oh. Okay, look at my brush. Ooh, trying to do this and read the comments at the same time. Not very smart. Sorry guys, I'll answer you in a second. Okay. Start working on the apex. Pretty big ball here. Look how it just melts. That's why I love Valentino. Just flows where you want it to go. Does all the hard work for you. This really helps too, just get really nice flat surface. Use that belly of your brush. Oh yeah, of course. I always want to help you guys, so if you ever have questions or anything like that, it's okay. Sorry, my boyfriend turned the TV on. But yeah, I'm always down to tell you guys my tips and tricks. Feel like it shouldn't be a secret, that's for sure. Okay, the cuticle bead is the most important. You want to get close enough to where it won't show a lot of growth, but you also don't want to touch the skin, so you gotta be careful. Make sure you press it all the way down or I'll start lifting too. It's okay. I'll be putting actually 3 more forms on, so if you stick around a little bit, I will show you that again. And also too, I will be saving this on my YouTube, so if you guys need to watch it again or miss something, once I actually post it, then you'll be able to go and rewind, I believe. Oops. Got a little carried away there. All right, cool. So this one is done. Go ahead and take the form off. It's looking pretty crazy, but it will be pretty soon. So I'm just gonna wait for that one to dry. So now I'm gonna put a form on again. So Miss Nail Estate. Good watch. All right, so I use the Harmony, but however, Ugly Duckling is amazing for doing stiletto. When I post it, go back and rewind it because it's shaped for a stiletto, which makes the coffin really good too. Because basically when you're pinching or putting the form on for a coffin, right? Here, let me take this off. Because when you're pinching or pushing this part together for a coffin and it's already a stiletto, let's just pretend real quick, right? If it's already a stiletto, about here would be the perfect C curve for like a coffin. So the way that the Ugly Duckling forms are made are at a very tight, narrow point. So it makes a really good C curve for coffin nails as well. So I use that for coffin and stiletto. Then I use the Harmony ones for square because you can keep it a little bit wider here. All right, so rolled it together pinched and rolled it together to create a nice little C curve there. pinch the bottom. I always rip this apart. You can leave it together if you want. I feel like it's just kind of up to your preference. And then I'm gonna measure out the nail bed. If the nail bed is wide enough, which my nail beds are pretty wide, so sometimes it's okay. You can put the form on without cutting it, but it's always best to cut it. Sorry, I'm struggling right now with this freaking glove here. All right. So you want now my middle finger drives me crazy because look, it goes that way. But it's because like my finger bends like from here up. It's straight here, but then it bends there up. So when you look at it this way, it'll be straight. And then when you look at it that way, it'll be crooked. But then if you do it straight that way, when you do it this way, it'll be crooked. So it's just, I don't know if anyone else has that problem, but it's super annoying. So it would be fine. But just to show you, I'm gonna cut this really quick. So you measure out how wide the nail bed is from sidewall to sidewall. So right there and right here, okay? So it's at the second line, and it looks like the third line. So I'm going to take my scissors and cut at the third line, and then cut at the second line here. And then this will get in the way later, so it's always good to just chop this off. Okay. And then you slide onto your finger. And that will be perfect. Oh, sorry, keep getting out of screen. Just gonna take this one out. It's loads easier doing it on someone else's hand. So, apologize for the struggle. You guys are witnessing. Okay, here we go. Wait. And again, this is going to determine help determine your C curve, so you want to make sure it's looking good. The form should be equal to your nail or your finger. So you want it to be basically be coming straight on, right? Sorry, my hand's shaky right now. I guess it's a little pointed down right now. There you go. Right, so especially for coffin, you don't want it to be going up. It's going to look weird. Also too, if you put it going too much up, then if you're doing like a stiletto, it's going to look crazy. Let's see, you're saying because sometimes you get acrylic under the natural nail. Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, so yeah, let me show you this, my index finger, because my index finger, the natural nail grows super down, right? So the reason why you're getting that excess acrylic underneath your nail is because the nail, let me get some pen and paper. Bear with me here, drawing this out real quick. Okay, so don't mind this ridiculous drawing, but when you're putting the form on, pretend this line is the form, right? And this is the tip of the like the nail, right? So, oop, that's the tip of the nail. So what you're doing is you're putting the form on to down, which is creating space for the acrylic to go inside right there. And then when your nail is growing out, then it's gonna create that annoying like under like double ridge, and then it'll have all this extra acrylic that's super annoying. It gets like caught in your hair and stuff. So your form has to be completely level all the way around. It has to be completely put like this. So see the difference between that and then like that, right? You're gonna have acrylic all right here, but if it's nice and flat against the actual natural nail, then you won't have acrylic underneath it, and it will just grow out like your nail, which is one of the pros of having the sculpted nails, right? So moving on to the index, I hope that answered your question. So you want to make sure that it goes straight out, basically, is what I'm saying. Long story short. Now, like I was saying before, my index finger is super annoying. I broke it when I was a kid, so right at the matrix of my nail, of course. So it is a little wonky. It grows super down, and what's really annoying is as my acrylic grows out, it literally just keeps going whoop. So I always soak this nail off more than my other fingers. And also too, the hyponychium goes pretty much past the tip of my nail, or the tip of my finger. And it's pretty narrow. So see, that is not okay because the acrylic is gonna go under the nail right here. So what we have to do is cut this out to form the actual shape of the nail. That way it's nice and even. And since my nail goes so down, I'm gonna have to put the form very up. So in certain cases, you do wanna put the form up if that's what's gonna make it look natural. Because that technically is up for my nail, but for my finger, it's straight. If I did it with my natural nail, look how ridiculous. Who would want that? No. That's like, no, way too low. So we'll do that. So pretty much we're gonna, again, look at the side walls. Okay, this one's gonna be about a 1, this one's gonna be about a line 2 or 3. So I'm going to cut in between the 2 and the 3 here. Oops. And then add the 1 right there. Boom. All right, cool. So now that we have that figured out, I'm going to cut it to where it will match up like this instead of like this. We want it to match all the way to the side walls, right? Right there. Not like that. And cut these guys off too, I always forget. Okay. Oops. All right, so my nail bed kind of does this thing where it comes more slanted and then goes up. So this side, we're gonna take a little bit more of the sticker off, right? And then I'm gonna just come up a little bit. Gonna put that back on, see if it works. See how I took more off of that side? You want it to fit perfectly underneath there. I'm going to take just a little bit more because it's not quite there. So I'm literally now just going to put a little V at the bottom. That should work. So right here, it's pinching a little bit on my skin, so I'm gonna just cut that. Now remember, since we are taking or cutting essentially the length of the form, we have to remember when we're doing the first bead to make it long enough. Because we cut some of that off. Not too much longer, but just enough. Okay, so like I was saying before, my nail is super annoying. I'd have to do it super pointed up. So I actually will probably take even a little bit more. Okay, sorry guys, starting over, getting a new one. Sometimes it's better just to get a new form than try to save the old one. And honestly, I can't really mess up too much because I'm sculpting all the way to the 5, so I really only have that much space to work with. So again, we're just gonna grab each corner, roll it in between, help get a nice little curvature there to the form. If I can get off my glove. Oh, struggling right now. I normally don't work with gloves, so that's why I'm the mayor of Struggle City right now. Okay, so now do this again. Pretty much already know where I'm cutting, so I'm just gonna go ahead and go for it. Hey, Jessica. Yes, I love these forms. I do prefer ugly duckling forms for stiletto and coffin nails, but these definitely do the trick. Oops. No, I do not work with tips. Yeah, you do need to try ugly duckling. They are seriously amazing. I really like their forms a lot. Okay. So like I said before, I have to make this one a little bit pointed up because my fingernail just grows crazy, so. Ooh, I guess no, your screen is not the only black one. Hmm. Okay, let me see. I'm trying to fix. I wonder what is happening. Oh, you guys can hear me, but can't see me. It's weird. I wonder, no, you shouldn't be able. Sorry guys, trying to fix this. Give me a second. I don't know what is happening. Oh, I don't know what is happening. All right, I'm gonna end this stream and start another one. Cause I don't know why the screen went black for you guys. I got a phone call, I think, and I dismissed it, and maybe I did something. So, BRB. Oi.